Jessica Denson je americká herečka a aktivistka, která dosáhla průlomového vítězství nad Donaldem Trumpem. Jako zaměstnankyně jeho kampaně v roce 2016 upozornila na vnitřní bezpráví a následně čelila šikaně, profesní likvidaci a tvrdé právní odvetě. Přesto se bránila.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. Hi there.
How are you doing?
I'm very, very tired. How are you? How are you? It's so unusual being in America and saying, I'm not okay. I feel tired. And because that's a sign that the times are normal. When you say, how are you? It's normal to say, good, how are you? Which is something really typical in our country, in Czech Republic, that if someone asks you, how are you? Then the ordinary Czech, the normie says, oh, nothing special, thank you. Because it belongs to the cultural mainstream to say, I'm not okay because otherwise someone could be jealous, or it's precautionary answer. But this time I feel such amount of desperation and tiredness. It's like, I think I'm not the only one, right?
I'm like beyond burnout. I think I'm like conquered burnout and like I'm on the ever burning level. But for some reason, I think I went through this burnout phase and I'm actually okay. I don't know if it's because not saw this coming, but there's this thing in Czech Republic. Me and Alex are the loudest and pretty much only also with Joseph Holly. There's like 4 of us, but we 2 are the loudest. Defenders of American democracy and alarmists and
canaries in the coal mine.
And we have been appealing and screaming and, waking up the Czech nation. And that's when I felt the biggest despair, when nobody else saw or understood what's happening in America. And it was so crazy to them that we looked insane. And that was my lowest point. Now that everything is happening that we saw coming, I hate to say it, it kind of gives me hope because Europe really woke up now, especially around Greenland.
True. And the Davos, that was the last drop. So suddenly even politicians who were used to play like this is the game as usual, we can do it. So suddenly no one acts like we can do it. Everyone is like feeling this is outside of every pattern we've been learned. This is so outside of everything. This is not normal. And I can see it in the eyes of our politicians who are usually they are cowards. Politicians are cowards. That's their business. So they never do anything outside of their patterns unless the situation is absolutely out of rail. And this is what's happening now.
Yeah, we've known, this is, sometimes I tell my audience on my show, I say, you haven't lost your minds. Like we have known this is very, very bad for a very long time. We have known that our country has been basically hijacked by a felon, a con artist, someone who is backed by Putin and the Kremlin and has been for decades. Someone who I do not believe for 1 second legitimately won in 2024. And we've known this, and then we've been living under this tyrannical, undemocratic unraveling of American democracy for a year now. A full year this has gone on. And, I did my show on Friday. I have never been more incensed and livid on a live show than I was on Friday night. And that was before the execution of Alex Preddy in Minneapolis. That was before that. And it's not because I'm shocked by what's happening or surprised. It's because I have no patience left for the inaction of our politicians who, as you said, are cowards. Yes, they are cowards, but they come out, a certain party in this country comes out like they are on our side, and they will tell you all day long what is wrong. They will diagnose it. They will tell you how unconstitutional it is. They will tell you how they're fighting against it, and yet they are not using the one remedy that our Constitution gives to do something about it.
Yes.
When did
I figure it out? I pretty much figured it out a year ago when they all rejected Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which is what bans insurrectionists from taking office in our country. And they just said, oh, no, we're good. We're okay with insurrectionists. We're the peaceful transfer of power people. So we're going to let the domestic terrorist come into our White House, no big deal. So I knew at that point that we were in pretty bad shape. And that was every single lawmaker in this country. Every single representative and senator said zero, didn't give a peep when it was time to certify his election. And that was a completely unconstitutional threshold that got us into this mess. I tell my viewers, like I tell as many people as will listen, that think about Weimar Germany in the 30s. Hitler was an insurrectionist, just like Trump. There's so many parallels. Hitler was an insurrectionist. They didn't have an insurrectionist clause in their governing documents to keep Hitler out of power. And so Hitler went in. We have one. We have one. This was a result of the Civil War. This was a result of seeing people who turned against this country and making sure that we were not putting people into offices of public trust who would violate that oath. We have that. And we just said, no, thank you. No, thank you. We're good.
Yeah. You know, I'm heartbroken. Actually, everyone is. So I've been seeing this coming since 2014 already. But at that time, it looked just like a bunch of crazy billionaires and some Russian oligarchs gathering together. And this is practically the end of the insurrection. Like we are now at the point 99 from 100. The bad thing that the people start grasping the heaviness of the situation right now when it starts to be obvious, not before, not in the moment you just described. What was your journey to realizing that before? Like since he was
How far back do
elected?
you want to go, Alex? I mean, my story goes way back. I'm somebody who, if you really want to start at the beginning, I mean, I've always paid close attention to politics. I went to school in Washington, D.C. I studied journalism. I've known very much what is going on, but I had never wanted to be in politics. Okay. I'm an actress, actually. And I was one of those people 10, 12 years ago who was like, I don't need to get into the fray. I don't want to alienate potential, the potential audience or people that I'm hoping to engage with my art. I'd rather just stay out of the fray and be an artist. That's me 10, 12 years ago, but at the same time being highly, highly aware of what's going on in the world and having really, really liberal and progressive values like from childhood. Okay. I'm a vegan. I'm someone who cares deeply about the environment and the world, but yet then here's the tragedy. I was, during the Obama years, brainwashed and sucked into right-wing propaganda, into Fox News. Deep into it.
Okay.
Thinking that they were the Christian people, the patriotic people, the freedom people, everything that they spend 24 hours a day brainwashing their viewers into thinking that they are, and smearing the opposition, making people think that the Democrats or anybody who is not on their side literally wants to burn America to the ground. And this is 10, 12, 15 years ago, okay? So I got sucked in to those lies. And as a result of it, when Donald Trump came around to run against Hillary Clinton, I thought Hillary Clinton was the most dangerous thing the world had ever seen. And that
propaganda was so omnipotent that most
was,
of our people did in Czech
yes,
Republic.
Still, like, if you ask me right now to this day, I don't think the Clintons have their hands clean. I don't think they're the best politician, but
neither do I.
Not at all. Not at all. The level to which I was made to hate and fear her was unreasonable, and got me to back this man, this multi-bankruptcy con artist named Donald Trump, who I saw the flaws. I wasn't stupid. I mean, I graduated at the top of my class in Washington at George Washington University. I was a smart person. And that's what other like people also have to understand, because they think it's just this certain class of Americans who are, truckers and live in the Bible Belt and like haven't graduated from college. No, like this sucks up all kinds of people, including highly educated people. And so I thought, without doing my research and being so blind and naive to so many things about Donald Trump's past, that we needed to get him elected as president to save us from the evil Hillary Clinton. And so I came out of that kind of bubble that I told you about as an artist, where I was like, I'm not, at least publicly, I'm not going to touch politics, and said, oh my God, our country needs me. And I'm going to go help this man, Donald Trump, on his campaign. And I also saw what a shit show his campaign was in 2016. And I thought I could do a lot to help amplify the diverse support for this campaign, because I'm the whitest woman of color you've ever seen, but I am a woman of color. And I was seeing a lot of other people, like particularly in New York, like Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, like I was seeing a lot of diverse support for him that was not being represented in the media. And I thought I can help show that this campaign is diverse and it's not just this one stereotype of Americans that are supporting him. And long story short, I got a job on the campaign, got a very quick promotion by Steve Bannon of all people. And I know. This is the irony.
I know. I'm watching Alex's reaction.
Steve Bannon promoted me to be their Hispanic engagement director because the campaign didn't have one. I mean, that's how ironic this all is.
Oh my God.
That's a favorite person. Yeah.
So
what a story.
Yeah. But I very quickly, and when I mean quickly, I mean in the course of a few weeks after that, had the most terrifying, unbelievable, psychologically twisted experience that I've ever had in my life. And that involved being accused of leaking Trump's taxes, being accused of selling stories to the media, being banned from Trump Tower, having Secret Service have me on a watch list and being told to keep me away from the candidate because I was being portrayed as a threat to him. I mean, this all happened to me in the course of the last few weeks of the 2016 campaign. In the midst of the Access Hollywood outings, they were terrorizing a woman inside of Trump Tower, and that woman was me. I was never more just absolutely terrified in my life, and I had done absolutely nothing wrong. My two sins there were being successful and doing good work and having a conscience. And my conscience was the biggest threat to that campaign. And I didn't know it at the time. I didn't realize, it took me a good year to realize how much of a fish out of water I was in that building and how polar opposite the insides of my being were to that criminal operation. I just thought it was a few bad people inside Donald Trump's good campaign to save America.
Yeah. Like criminal are the two absolutely right words.
Yeah.
Criminal.
We're all on the same level.
That's what they
Alex
are.
has, in fact, been the first but canary in the coal in Czech Republic in 2016, 15. And she just appeared as one woman that has said since then forever the truth about the mafia core of this policy. And they have laughed and ridiculed her. And now she finally became the prophet of truth.
No, thank you. I didn't ask for that.
Tell me more of this story, Alex. I want to know this.
That's the case for long story short.
Yeah.
I was political marketing person, similar as you, working in European Parliament, serving to the chairman of the legislation committee of the European Parliament. And suddenly in Czech Republic, in my country, that was 2014, and the Russians, for the first time, attacked Ukraine with fake soldiers, Crimea. Suddenly, from the United States, in our information space, there was a strong wave about Muslims are coming. They are going to cut our heads, rape your women, steal your children. It was like the Sharia law is coming. The Europe should be afraid. And there was this Islamic State and the cut heads video and the psychological operations around. And first I fell for it. I was like 1 year between 2014 and 2015. I was, oh my God, what's happening? And then it suddenly became weirder and stronger, and you couldn't basically open any media without the discourse was everywhere. No one was paying attention to what Russia is doing, what America's. No one was paying attention to anything else. It was just all Muslims. We are gonna die here. The hordes of migrants are coming.
which is fascism 101, right?
And the country started to freak out. And I was like, wait a minute. This is something what I already know. Just there is no product and no candidate. The fear is the product. Who's doing this? And I started digging. And then when it became slowly clear around 2016, I relocate my family to Canada and start writing books and articles and shouting out loud, the Russian oligarchs are changing the world. The Silicon Valley is deeply toxic and they have been bought and it's dirty money, but no one listened. Yeah.
No.
That's long story short.
Actually, our country was the only country that there were immigrants. There was like a lot of immigrants. But our country, Czech Republic, was the only one that Islamic immigrants did not enter. There's like a map of Europe.
Yeah.
And on Czech Republic,
And that wave that no one entered.
Wow.
Yeah, but we were totally we lost our marbles because of fear of migrants. And then when you see the maps from 2014, the people from Syria, the people coming from the Eastern and African states, everyone avoided Czech Republic. So we have none. We are totally losing our minds about the migrants who didn't come, actually. But everyone is talking about them. It's the subject of election campaigns. It's ongoing. It still works.
This is the global epidemic, is this false claim of invasion from foreigners, right? I mean, like I was saying when you were talking, this is fascism 101, just trying to different groups of people against each other so that the people at the top, the people in power, can divide and conquer, right? That's how they get, I can definitely relate, Alex, to screaming from the rooftops and nobody hearing you, because what ended up happening for me is that I walked away from that campaign in tatters, like totally just feeling like I was under the darkest cloud I'd ever known, and ended up getting into a legal battle against the Trump campaign I sued the campaign. They retaliated against me with a $1.5 million arbitration demand and tried to make me disappear and go into bankruptcy. And fought them aggressively, ended up invalidating all of their NDAs. And this whole time during Trump's first administration, I was screaming from the rooftops. And nobody, like American media, would not cover my story. I was on, television one time in those 4 years, or maybe I think one more time at the very, very end. Like, people would not platform my story. And I was trying to say, look at me. I am the canary in the coal mine of what political persecution looks like in this country. You need to pay attention to this.
Yes.
And they wouldn't. And then after January 6th happened, I had a successful lawsuit. I said, look, if this woman who started with no lawyer and no money can beat Trump in the courts, you damn well can go after him and prosecute him for his crimes against democracy. And once again, I couldn't get a platform to listen to me. And it was driving me insane. So I can totally relate to seeing these dangers and trying to, shake people into their senses. And really, I mean, ultimately, I think Natalie and Alex, so many people out there do see what we see, and are on our side. It's just a lot of people who are controlling the massive platforms.
Yeah. Yes.
Do not put these stories out.
The distribution has been tweaked so well that we are basically, all of us, we have been muted, or just, we can shout out of our window, but it's not as during the communist era that there is basically, when you own the information space and you own the entire distribution of digital services, you don't need jails for your political opponents. You can let them disappear.
But I was thinking, as they built social media, we'll just build like social communities. And I have to kind of oppose in a way. I just have huge hope. And I think it's because I'm in Europe now. So we see it all. I get furious. I mean, I cry a lot. And then I'm like, I see the people in Europe kind of standing up. I just have not lost hope. I have bigger hope than I had months ago. So, and I also think it is time, and I feel the people feel it, to help America.
Yeah, actually,
when you're not happy, I think I have bigger hopes than last time.
Natalie, you are a fighter. You are also a daughter of a fighter, because you have it in your family, right? The never giving up to the regime.
Yeah, because it pisses me off. So, but
Natalie, for the viewers of my show, can you give us a little bit of a background on your father and your fight? Because we need to know about that.
Yes.
Okay, so
do it.
my grandfather was he was a preacher, and he was one of the leaders of evangelical. How would you say it, Alex? Dissident. He was a dissident in the evangelical society, and so he raised like a whole generation
During the communist regime, just to frame it for the American people.
So we're from Czechoslovakia originally, and there was a communist regime. And my grandfather, he was a dissident. Then my father was raised in this community, and he became a very famous musician. He was prosecuted, and then he was a big part, like a huge part in the Velvet Revolution that ended the communist regime. Then he got the Soviet army out in 91. And the Soviet army back then intended to stay here. They intended to keep the troops here. And if they did not leave, Putin would take over very smoothly. So my father back then, he stood up and he said, no, they have to leave now. Not in some kind of cooperative operation.
Yeah, there was a suggestion, let's leave it. In 10 years or so, they might slowly start.
Yeah, and he said, no, you got to leave now. So he got the Soviet army out. And when they were at the airport and the last Soviet general was leaving Slovakia, he said, we will be back. And then when my father was like...
But he said, we will be back, but as businessman in suits.
Like 15 years later, my dad was at a supermarket and somebody tapped his back and he turned around and that was the general. And he said, I told you we'd be back. Yeah, that's not funny actually, but...
Yeah, it would be it would be funny if America wouldn't live the horror right now. This is the result of the horror. They came back as businessmen on their billions and billions of their shitty oil money. And no one paid attention.
And my mom's American. My mom met my dad in Berlin in 80. And then I was born in Czechoslovakia. And my mom was one of only 3 Americans voluntarily living in Czechoslovakia.
Wow. When you're talking about your father saying, no, those troops have to get out now, it reminds me of what my fight in this country right now, because people are, they tell, if you guys know, and my viewers know, I'm all about pushing for impeachment now. And our lawmakers are like, no, we'll do it after the midterms. We'll just wait until
there will be no midterms.
There will exactly. Exactly. And this is the whole crisis of why we're here, because we didn't prosecute Trump fast enough. We just had all the good old time in the world because these, you don't really need accountability for criminals. They'll just go away, right? Mm-hmm. No, obviously they'll always be back. You have to, it's the whole point of accountability is to stop the recurrence of the crimes. And we have had no accountability for these people.
Yeah.
Can I ask like a Czech person? Well, I kind of know the answer. I'd like to ask you, what is wrong with Democrats? Why did they not stand up? Everybody asks me this question.
Yeah, everyone wants to see it.
Nobody
to know, to understand.
I mean, it's almost like they're living in another universe, ladies. I will tell you, last night, a friend sent me an article from CNN that kind of dissected the last impeachment vote that we had. And when I say we, it's because our movement has been so integral in getting those forced votes to happen and has really moved the needle on support for impeachment. Those 2 times that we've done it, we've made incredible progress, which is why I'm always pushing for votes to be forced, because every time you put people's names on the record, you expose them and more of them are pressured to actually vote the right way. Yep. But I saw this article that was dissecting, all of the, the drama within the Democratic Party that goes on when one of these impeachment votes is forced, because the party internally and the leadership has been so opposed to going anywhere near the impeachment discussion before the midterms. They view it, I will tell you, as, which is a total disconnect from the pulse of the country. They view it as a threat to their more vulnerable members who need to get reelected in the midterms, like ones that are in more moderate districts. They think if those members take a position on impeachment, they're not going to get reelected, which is insane. And so they have, And so they have completely abandoned their oath to the Constitution to enforce Article 2, Section 4 and protect us from a tyrant because they're worried about a few vulnerable members in a midterm that may not even happen. Not to mention, it's a total disconnect from the pulse of this country who wants this man removed from office yesterday. So that is their very lame excuse. But like I said, I was reading this CNN article and just all of the gross political Washington insider analysis / excuses / whatever you want to call it is just so pathetic to read, because it is like they are living in an alternate universe where we are just going through politics as normal and we can just, we're just having some debate here about healthcare or some random policy thing that we can just deal with like things are normal. Things are not normal. You have to act with urgency and repeated daily action to confront this. Like I always say, like for all of the shit that Donald Trump throws at the fan, we have to, with equal measure, be countering it with opposition, with legal constitutional opposition. And what do we have in this country? We have impeachment. So this should be like something we are forcing votes on every single day. And they are just so disconnected from reality. I think they're disconnected from reality. They're disconnected from the fact that their names are going to go down in history as being the biggest cowards in the universe. The fact that they have blood on their hands for these executions that we're seeing on the streets of America because, yeah, the administration is committing these crimes, but Congress is empowered to get rid of that administration. So they're complicit too. It's a total disconnect. And even today, if you watch television today, the Democrats are out there saying, we have to impeach Noam and Bond. That's it. That's it. Are you crazy? You're going to just impeach the henchmen and not impeach Donald Trump? Yeah. And why? They won't even force a vote on those impeachments. They won't even do that. Oh. It's a placating. It's a placating so they can try to make their base believe that they're actually doing something. And they're still not doing anything.
It's not basically the problem of Jeffries and Schumer. It's the whole levels.
Jeffries and Schumer have a lot of power. If Jeffries, and I also give a really hard time to people like Raskin because he's the head of the Judiciary Committee. He's very respected. A lot of people consider him like the gatekeeper to whether or not impeachments can be filed. I think things are slightly changing right now. But if Jeffries or Schumer came out today and said, we need to start proceedings to impeach and remove Trump, of course, they would have incredible power to change the narrative in this country.
But they don't do it.
No, even governors, even the most beloved, even people like Tim Walz, who out there, God bless that man for what is going on in Minnesota. And I know he's trying to strike a balance where he's not being inflammatory. I can tell that while still calling a murder a murder. But even if you could have governors, even though they can't do anything in Congress, they're not gagged. They could be saying Trump needs to be removed from office. Anybody could be saying that.
Yeah. So I think it's a plan.
What I see from outside, like when I'm inside, but as a European, what I see at the United States of America are not woke liberals against MAGA. It's not Democrats against GOP. It's the people who are in Epstein files and those who are not. Yeah. This is what I see.
Other players, It's a coup. It's a plan.
Yeah.
They see it.
God, what are we gonna do?
No, but
can we scream now?
I want to know about Natalie. You said you feel hopeful from Europe. Tell me what you see that gives you hope.
Here comes Europe. Watch out.
Watch out. Okay.
Watch out, because we're coming to get you and take you over.
Oh, we got it. We're gonna get you.
We will not have this. No. We've been through this World War II, thousands of years. We've been through this. We are not seeing America falling down. No. We'll leave the congressmen in Congress, and you all can come over to Europe.
No, I think paradoxically that the Davos was the wake-up call for everyone. From what I see right now on their faces, from the leadership of Mark Carney to the black glasses of Emmanuel Macron, they just get what is happening for a long time, but they didn't dare. It was like France doing a little bit business oil with Russia as usual, Germany checking out when it comes to, or Belgium checking out when it comes to freezing of Russian assets. Right now, they realize that there is no precedent for what is happening. Our leader, the leadership of NATO is fallen. We have no leader. And it's worse. America is our enemy now.
I know.
Yeah. But also Europe is playing a lot. You know, what you see Europe is doing, they know what Trump is. So if they agree with him, they kind of, go in the back and, we'll do it however we want to. So I think how strongly Europe is playing now, it's not totally on the surface yet,
And
'Cause-
also, there is a lot of money. The American billionaires have no idea how strong the European capital are.
Europe is strong.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's 500 million people. It's huge businesses, unbelievable incomes, GDP. And I'm not speaking about state budgets only. When you only see the money being in Denmark, that tiny little Denmark, how much money they control in international shipping, in
Yeah.
medical, they have enormous power. And right now, they grasp what to do with this power.
Yeah. Like how bad Trump is, it's like a really great gift because Europe sees it now and Europe loves America. Europe feels totally depressed losing America.
Yeah.
So we've been watching this for a year and Trump is doing such a horrible job with all the whole administration that it's actually the best possible scenario. So now there's like phase 2 and Europe is playing its games. It's not so obvious yet, but this is what we want to do. This is why we started Radio Free America and why we want to encourage people to start connecting and building bridges between America and Europe and other countries that want to fight, because the tendency to fight, the urge to fight is huge. And you don't see it because you're in such a disaster, in America, that you're so tired, you don't see what's going on outside, but it really is in a way hopeful.
And we have a common
Because it's so
problem.
bad.
The
Yeah.
problem is international organized crime.
Mm.
That's the deepest reason we look at.
But people are starting to see it now.
Yeah.
And that's a big change in society.
Yeah, it is. It is.
At the end of the day, I mean, it's an opportunity to absolutely clean house from something that has been plaguing us for so long, that is not a one-party issue. It's not a
Yes.
one-nation issue. Like you said, it's global organized criminals that are
Yes.
trying to control our world. And if we seize this moment to really take our power back, what an incredible opportunity.
And also,
So
I think Americans have
Right.
something what the Europeans don't have. Our nations are old and careful because we don't want to lose what we've gained through all the centuries. You are fighters. You guys are fighters. This is something what combined could create. Do not panic. Let's organize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's build bridges.
Natalie, tell us all about what Radio Free America is and what you're doing with that network.
Well, this is exactly it, because during communism, we had this Radio Free Europe. I never actually heard it because I was born
And
in
Voice of America.
Yeah. So, and it's like this legendary cultural element in our societies, Radio Free Europe. And it's something we were so grateful for. And America always, for our society, was it was so crucial to our society. Our first president of Czechoslovakia, Masaryk, his wife was Charlotte Masaryk. She was American. So we had a first president of Czechoslovakia. His wife was American. So America's deeply rooted in our society. And so it was actually a pretty common thing that when people realized here that what's happening in America, they started saying, well, let's start Radio Free America. I mean, I was kind of the first, but then people would say it on and on.
And they feel excited by that idea that we can do the same. It will be kind of citizen activity, but still. Yeah.
They want Czechs, really, really want to help, and they're very active, and they keep calling us, what can we do? And we're so overwhelmed that yeah, we're kind of we kind of know.
We
We
just
would like more instructions from Americans, what they need.
What I
What do you
need
need?
from every one of my fellow citizens and activists and politicians, everybody, I need everybody every day, every minute to be saying the word impeachment.
okay.
Impeach, convict,
But
remove. We have a constitution. If we are actually still in any semblance a constitutional republic here in the United States of America, that's the way we deal with this. If we want to avoid a bloody revolution, that's the way we deal with it. Article 2, Section 4, impeachment. That's what we've got to do. Impeach, convict, remove all over the world.
Europeans multiply their voices.
that's us. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
That's the, if and also if you
Okay.
want to avoid the bloody way.
Right. That's it. Exactly.
Yeah.
We're the peaceful ones. We're trying. We don't have, we're not like Europe. We don't have referendums, right? We can't just say, oh, we don't like these people. Let's have a new election anytime. Our Constitution gives us impeachment as the remedy to remove a tyrant, period, especially when elections are being threatened the way they are in the United States of America right now. And that's why, by the way, like this gets so little coverage, but Trump is so afraid of impeachment. He's
Yeah.
so afraid of it. He's literally had it scrubbed from Smithsonian records. That's how scared of it he is, because he knows it's the way that we get him out. He knows.
So if everybody, I don't know, wrote or if the whole world shouted impeachment, would that change anything in Congress?
I think so. I mean, it forces them to take that seriously. That's why I started the Removal Coalition, because I know, like, even this past weekend, I see coverage all over the place of the ICE protests, and it's abolish ICE out of Minnesota, which is great, but it's not enough. It's just not enough. Well, first of all, you're never going to abolish the terror that's going on under this administration while they're in power. You're just not.
Yeah.
You're just not.
Yeah.
We have to demand more. I mean, you're in New York, or Alex, or close to New York, and a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, Mom Donnie was inaugurated. And I don't know if you remember his speech, but he talked about how we've been setting such small expectations and we need to demand more. And this was literally the Friday before that is how I opened my show, that we need to demand more.
More.
It's not just that, people might think, oh, we can't even get healthcare subsidies. How are we going to get them removed? No, it's not that we've been asking for too much.
This
It's
is
that
not
we've been
business as usual.
too little. We have been thinking so small in terms of what our power and agency is. So if activists all over the country were not just saying abolish ICE, and we're not just saying, they want a piecemeal approach to this terrorism, and we're instead saying Trump has got to go, we have to invoke the Constitution, we have to impeach, that pressure would inevitably get translated to the media and to our lawmakers, and they wouldn't be able to ignore it anymore. And that's what I've been trying to do this whole time.
You're such a brave woman.
Okay, so let's
How
try
you
that.
do that? How you do this? How
Well,
can you survive all this? I don't mean physically survive, but mentally. And where do you get your bravery?
God,
He's amazing.
I mean, you're very kind, but that's where I got it years ago. I had this spiritual wrestling years ago that I would say I was very insecure and afraid to fight for myself, because I thought it was like I had this false sense of humility that fighting for myself was selfish or people didn't care about me. And I had to get over that and realize that, and this really does come down to each one of us individually.
Yeah.
Like our own welfare, our individual welfare for each one of us, man, woman, and child, affects the welfare of the whole world. And when you approach this fight as like a fight for like self-worth that then expands to the worth of your nation and the world, it's very powerful, and you don't doubt it. Like, it's just, you might be afraid in moments, and I absolutely, I'll be honest, I'm not so afraid. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm not so afraid anymore. I was a year ago. I don't know. I think you two are in the same boat. I don't know what else to do than to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what else to do.
Exactly. This is so much bigger than us, and there is no other way than to go forward. So the road is narrow. There is just two moves you can make: turn around or go forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so let's impeach him.
Let's impeach him. That's the
Yes.
perfect full stop. That's And let's impeach him. Let's do this. I think it's also necessary to somehow unify the perception, because people are sticking in different rabbit holes and their heads have been brainwashed so much. But I deeply believe we can do this. Let's impeach him.
Yeah, we can. I mean, what do we have? We have like the welfare of 350 million people is dependent upon a mere like 400 or 500.
A bunch of criminals from Queens.
No, I know, but like, I mean, we have like literally, like, this is what I remind people. We only have to move the votes of a few mere mortals in Washington, D.C. Are you telling me that like the welfare of the free world is not worth pressuring a few hundred mere mortals? I mean, give me a break. We can do this.
Yeah, that's insane.
We can do this.
That's insane. Yeah.
Thank you. You're giving me hope. You're giving me hope. And I've been so desperate lately. Thank you so much.
Thank you both so much. Thank you, Natalie. And such a pleasure to meet you, Alex. Love you too. Love you too. And especially to have strong, fearless women standing alongside you in this fight. Nothing compares.
Women power.
We can make it. We can make it.
We can make it. Okay.
Yeah. Bye, Jessica.
Okay. Much love.
Much love. Bye.